see you out that door, baby. Bye, bye, bye. Hey, everyone. How's it going? It is I, the real Randy Chavez, coming at you today with a podcast. Today, we have Jenny Ta, businesswoman, investor, creator of the newest meme coin with a multi-million-dollar market cap. I've gotten to know Jenny well over the past several months, hitting it off right away with our mutual love of investing, determining which companies are undervalued, and capitalizing on what we believe humans will spend their money on. She is passionate, well-spoken, and thoughtful. Jenny Ta, everyone at home, say hello to Dashi. Hello, Dashi.
Hi, Dashi.
How you doing today, Jenny?
Hey, good. Happy Friday. Thanks for having me. Just doing a little bit tweeting here. Hello, everybody. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday to everyone. It's a good time. Yeah, it is Friday. We had a long weekend last weekend, Labor Day. Shout out to all the labor unions and people that work, people that help make this country great. Love y'all. What's up, Omar? What's up, Booth? Saying T-ball to the moon. So as we get, Jenny finishes out the last tweet of sharing this and everything, tagging everyone, I'll go over one of my first questions here, which would be, for you, one of the things that make you a successful entrepreneur is determining something that I don't think you can see. It's people's feelings. So everyone has them. And as an investor, it's usually our job to discern which people have strong enough feelings to make them purchase a stock, a token, anything that's synonymous with that. And given that most people are limited to this talent, tell us what goes through your mind when visualizing other people's feelings, how they'd react to a CEO or product, and what makes them invest.
Great question.
Oh,
well, you always have great questions, so I never doubt that. But I hope you've been well. It's been a while that I haven't seen you on the show, so greatly appreciate being back on the show. But when it comes to money and investing, to be very honest with you, it comes down to integrity and trust, and you have to build that in a very long time. Again, I've been on Wall Street. I've been in the investment world for, without giving my age, over 20 something years. Of course, I started out when I was in my 20s. And so when I first started out, you started out with, no one knew who I was, WTF, who the fuck is Jenny Ta, right? So back then I did a lot of cold calling and, just getting strangers from all over the world, buying intel. Facebook was coming out with IPO, just pitching them like whatever. I just know them as John, Jack, Doe, Mary, having, $50,000, $100,000, $200,000 purchasing some kind of a blue chip stock with me, right? But as the years go by, my experiences and the name Jenny Ta sort of risen, right? And so the network expanded, and that's where your trust and integrity come to play. Especially with today's social media, you never know who's looking at you. And speaking of social media, let me dive off and then I'll come back a little bit. So not only my Twitter accounts, but I have a number of friends who are leaning towards Kamala Harris, which is Democrat, are having trouble with their Twitter accounts. All of the sudden, the number of views literally became nothing. Like when I retweet yours or any of my team members to my page, because I have a large page, and that I built since 12, 13 years ago, my Twitter page. Yeah. And there's got to be at least a minimum of 1,000 to 2,000 views. I mean, minimum. Okay. Yeah. As soon as I tweet over, you would have immediately. Now it's barely 100 views, So I have no idea what's going on there. And then not only that, like the TBALL account was working. The views were fine. It too got affected. And then not only that, my teammates like Kuan Ning, and then I know Michelle is not as active. And then there's Cam. She's also not as active on Twitter, like once in a while. But Kuan Ning and I are pretty active. She got affected. Like, you know, I mean, clearly, like every time she would tweet like a picture about herself or a video that she's biking, she would get at least minimum, okay, immediately 500 to 1,000 or 2,000 views. But she tested just this week because, you know, my account, she barely had like 30 views within 24 hours. That's just impossible. Yeah, it's just impossible, you know. So, and then not only that, I got a call this morning from one of my very close friends. He supports my tweets almost all the time. His wife is an Aries and his name is Alex. And his account got suspended. And it's like, you know, I mean, yeah, you know, he gave me a text message and he sent me an email. He said, Jenny, you know, I just want to let you know that my account got suspended. I said, for what? And then he said, probably tweeting your tweets, commenting to your tweets. So it's like, am I toxic? I mean, I don't know. And, you know, so I'm going to come right back to your question about the investing. Yeah, all eyes are on you, especially if you are on, you know, social media, what you say, what you do. Even if some of your tweets are deleted, the internet still remembers it. There's a lot of the what you call it, the devs. They could still literally pull up that tweet, even though it's already been deleted, and take a screenshot of it, and then they would tweet, say, Jenny Todd just deleted this tweet, right? So, you know, so I think I've shared this before that when it comes to investing, it's the two most difficult things on the planet. That means you got to deal with another human being, right? Another human beings are difficult. I mean, human beings are problematic. And then you got to deal with that human's money, right? So human beings and money are the two most difficult things on the planet. And so you got to deal with them. And for them to trust you, to give you their money, to manage, like, you know, you manage a small fund. I manage a larger side of fund where I have limited partners and stuff like that. Trust and integrity. Got to go along with it, because these days it doesn't matter if you sign 1,001 different agreements. People can still find attorneys to find loopholes around those agreements, and they can break them. You know, NDAs and stuff. All of those NDAs, agreements, they're actually for good people. They're not for bad people. Like, I consider Trump as a bad person. So if you sign an agreement with Trump, it doesn't matter how many agreements you sign, he's still going to break it. Okay. So agreements and NDAs are not really for bad people. They're actually for good people, because good people, they will sign it and they're not going to look beyond that. So that's my long and short, you know, answer to, you know, to your question, Randy. But again, you know, when it comes to investing, you got to have integrity. You got to have a good career of, you know, of truth and honesty to your name. And I wanted to add one thing. So back when I founded my first investment bank, you know, I manage almost half of $1 billion. So today's world, my friends were calculating like inflation and stuff like that. That portfolio today would be at least anywhere between 5 to 7 or even $10 billion because of the dollars going down and then inflation. So there were, you know, they were making some math calculation. So, you know, but back then, for me to have gathered that much, like $500 million worth of assets under management, I had 50 stockbrokers working for me. right?
Impressive.
So each of those stockbrokers had their own books, right? So, like if I had 500 million, maybe, and I have 50 stockbrokers, so each of us probably manage like a tenth of that per se. So maybe 50 millions of that. So the pressure wasn't much really on me, the pressure, good morning, Sean. The pressure would be more like, my other 49 brokers, if they had integrity, they had their network. And so the pool of us, like the combine of my 49 brokers and myself, we pool together and we manage, $500 million, which is $500 million. You get what I'm saying? But as you grow, and then like now, like when I launch a fund, and then when I got to go out and I get limited partners, you know how these work. That's based upon myself, my integrity, my honesty. If I'm going to give Jenny $10 million for her fund to manage for me, or $5 million, is she going to fuck it up, right? Is she going to take it and go buy a mansion or something like that, so, but I'll just pause there.
I love and appreciate that you give these, some would say long-winded answers, but I view it as like a symphony, as where you start off with certain notes, you go off on what seems like the rails, if I can quote Ozzy Osbourne, but then you bring it back and it's like, oh, okay, now I understand why she said those things, because it all ties together and it all makes sense. One, because it's a beautiful thing to look at and listen to, and the other is because I get to save my voice while you talk, so that's really nice as well. But that's
always cool.
Let's bring it back. You had mentioned being in business for a while, so let's go back to the early days. What did the life of Jenny Qta look like when you founded Vantage Investments back in the late 90s? Yeah, let's buy a mansion.
Wow. Buy a mansion. Oh, hi, Quan Ning. I did buy a mansion when I was in my that was actually the first thing that I knew that I was a millionaire, the first millionaire. I ran out and I bought a multi-million-dollar mansion. Nice. I remember it was, of course, I don't want to say where because people would still hunt it down. But I will also share how the wealthiest elites hide their assets. Did you know that? Like,
yes.
The wealthiest. Okay, so the wealthiest.
But explain to everyone that might not know.
Okay, the wealthiest elites, because I manage their portfolio, and of course, this is actually how I learned, because in order for me to become, let's just say one of the wealthiest elites, is by managing them, and then that's how I learn. That's how you climb the ladder. So I learned how the wealthiest elites hide their assets, and it's not even in their names. It's like, if my name is Jenny Ta, I would have assets that is not under my social security number, that is not under my name, and there are ways that you could do that. Of course, I know that way, but anyway, hi Sleepy, hi Quan Ning. So going back to your question. Okay. So when I founded my first investment bank, I think that's what all kids do. I would call myself a kid because I was in my 20s at the time. The first two things that everybody always gonna buy is a house and a car, a mansion and a car, right? I mean, unless you're an idiot and you go out, you burn all your money, probably there's a lot of idiots out there, with a party, chicks and booze and, drugs and alcohol. And then by the time you wake up, right, there you go. But, we all each choose how we have fun. Hi, Felix. Okay. How we have fun. But, for me, I grew up as a nerd. My mom was like, she kept an eye on me, make sure you don't sleep with anybody until you finish college. And then after I finished college, said, you don't sleep with anybody until you get married, you know. My mother is that type, you know. So I grew up in that types of world, you know, that it was very strict and nerdy, you know. So when I first built my first investment bank, and then I remember making that first well, I knew I was gonna, you know, make that first $1 million. Of course, I went out and I said, what kind of car did I want? So at the time, I remember I bought a Mercedes SL 500. At that time, where I was at, Orange County, people my age, no one had that car. You know, no one had that car. So that was my first car. It's convertible. Those of you guys don't know about cars, I love cars. Google Mercedes 500 SL. It's convertible, and you guys can check that out. I think the price for now is probably over 200 for that car right now. But back then it was already over $100-something thousand for that car. And then I went to look for a house, a mansion. And so I remember, you know, yes, there you go. That one. Exactly. And I had a personal license plate. I'm going to see if I can find it, and then I'll tweet it out. My personal license plate was actually my Asian name. It's not Jenny, it's not Ta, but my Asian name, I spell it out. It's Quyen. And so I had that. I was driving around Orange County. But back then, I mean, it's not really long time ago, people. Like, I'm only 300 years old, okay? So I was driving around, and I would not do that today, because today, when you have a personal license plate, people gonna stalk you, and then they know that, you know, they want to know where you live, they want to know what you do. So extremely dangerous, right? But back then, I would drive that around with a personal license plate. I had a lot of fun. And then, okay, so back to the mansion. You were saying that, what do I do, you know, when I first, you know.
Yeah, just what does your life look like?
Oh, it hella fun, right? But my fun is probably different than your fun, because you're a dude. You know, I'm a
I can have fun in many different ways. I can go out and I could party, and I could party with Lucy in the sky with diamonds, and I could drink a lot, or I could have fun playing D&D, playing video games. I could have fun at home alone. I think one of the privileges of being an only child is learning how to be creative and to have fun while alone.
I never knew you were an only child. So yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. So I have an older brother, but again, he's a boy, I'm a girl, so we kind of different, you know, in different aspect. So I remember I went to look for a home, and I knew I wanted a mansion. The word is a mansion, you know. Yeah. And so I came across of this new complex, and they were building new homes, like, you know, the new constructions, right? Yeah. But they were building mansions. They weren't build track homes. If you guys don't know what that means, just Google it, right? And
so they weren't the typical like residential. They were almost, they weren't commercial, but they weren't like a 1 or 2 story house. These were like 3 and 4 story houses with acres of land and basements.
Well, they were maintaining 2 stories, but some they built like a little deck above, so I guess you could call them 3 story. But you know, track homes, the difference between track homes and custom built mansions. Track homes, they normally have like a dozen homes, like 100 homes, you know. That's why it's called track. And then they, you know, they kind of built the home similar. Okay, wealth is privacy nowadays. That is correct, Kwan-Ning. Wealth is privacy. Okay. So did they have a basement? Yes, some do. Some do have basements. So, but the area I was looking at these homes were like 5,000 to 7,000 you know, living square feet. So I guess if you count the garage too, it could be 10,000. So they only had 2 models for you to choose from, and then from there you can, you know, expand further. Did ChatGPT wrote that question, Randy?
No,
I'm sure it is.
it comes from my mind. Sorry, keep going.
Some of your friends, right? Some of your friends. So so I came, and so this area I was looking at, they were building like 10 homes max. So it was a private builder. I think he bought the land and he hires construction. So at the time, each of the homes minimum was $1 million. Okay. And then of course that's just the basic. It's kind of like you buy a car and then you got to buy more options to it. You add a stereo, hi-fi, so homes are the same. So I came and then I look at the two model homes. There's a smaller version and a bigger version, right? And when they built model homes, they got to build with everything in it so they can sell you, right? So then I remember I was talking to the sales lady and I said, I'm interested to buy a home. And then she took me to this place where you see the maps and say, well, Jenny, what lot do you want to choose from? We have 10 lots, so you could choose from. And I said, no, I want to buy the house that we're in right now. And so she flipped and she said, what do you mean the house that we're in right now? Because we were standing in the model home. The model home, they built two model homes, the smaller one and the bigger one. So the sales office was set up in the bigger model home. Obviously, when you learn marketing 101, it's all about marketing. So we were standing in the bigger model home. And so she was asking me to pick the lot. And I said, well, I don't want to pick a lot. I want the house to be done like right now. I mean, and they said, well, you got to go through like a loan process. And then you got to pick if it's fixed rate or adjustable rate. You got to put down a down payment.
Tell me you bought it,
and it's going to take some time. And so, and I said, no, I don't need, and they thought I was a joke. They thought I was a joke because I was just 20 something. And then they said, so anyway, to make the whole story short, I've never shared this story, by the way. And then so she got confused, and then she quickly learned that I wanted to buy the model home. So she went and she got her manager out. And and the manager said, did we understand it right that you wanted to buy this model home? And I said, yeah. Is it for sale? I said, oh yeah, it's for sale. But we didn't plan on selling it until we finished selling the lot. But if you're interested, but do you know how much this home it's cost? And because, the model homes, it's fully furnished, correct? That's how I show up. I don't have time for anything, right? Like when I go to the mall, I buy everything that's on the mannequins because I don't have time to go through the racks and look for them. I just walk around real quick.
Of like buying a house, you go and like, okay, now I want to put this here and put that there and make it your own. But I guess if you're young and you're
that's true. But if you think about it, well, yeah. But then the thing about, let's say I can see it like you're a dude, right? And let's just say if you have a fiance or a girlfriend that you would buy this with, that's something that you would want her to do, right? I mean, you're a dude. What do you call it? Yeah, so it's you supply for her, right? So that's something that she would love to do. Say, oh my God, my boyfriend, my fiance just bought a mansion, and he lets me decorate. My goal is to live in Randy's basement. Oh, okay. I'm sure you guys can have a blast. But at the time, I was running an investment bank, right? I didn't have time for all that, and that's the thing about me is that that's not what I call fun. What I call fun is buy the mansion, everything is done, and just move in and live. That's it. And invite my friends over, have a couple parties, because time was money for me at the time, right? So, and so how we resolved that was I did buy that house, the model home, okay? Finalized the paperwork. I put down, they asked for 30% down, right? And here's why. They said that I can buy the house and then I would have to release it back to them because they still need an office to sell all the lots. And then they told me as soon as all of the 10 lots were sold, then they will move the sales office to the other model home, and then I can move in to this one. You get it? So so we did that. We finalized all the paperwork. I pay them cash. I think at the time it was like almost like $1.6 million, $1.7 million or something
That is
like that.
such a baller move. That is just gangster, going in, paying $1 million cash just upfront. Oh my God,
And when
that's
you're just like
beautiful.
20 something, you know, you're just 20 something. And then it was funny, one piggyback story to this whole thing, because since I started, I remember. So then 6 months later, so I mean, I think they rented off from me, and I rented to them $10,000 a month. So you know, you gotta make money. So I pay them cash, and I said, I'm gonna rent to you guys 3 months at $10,000 a month. And if you need more after that, then you let me know. But and then I think they need an extra month, so they took 4 months to sell, because the homes were expensive. You know, you got to take time to sell the homes, right? And then after they were done, they believed that they sold everything, so they moved the sales office to the other smaller model home. Just for, you know, in case people got to come in and choose their tiles, their floors, their cabinets. You know how it goes. See, I didn't have time for that. You know, that's why I bought the model home. And so it was time for me to move in, right? And then when I move in, and then there were talks within the neighborhoods, because now all of the 10 lots now have owners. And they would come in every day to see their own home being built. And they got to go to the office next door to choose their tiles, their carpets, the walls, their cabinets. Whereas they seen this, you know, young lady, you know, driving a Mercedes SL parking in there. Of course, they asked the sales office, who is that young lady? Keep going. Said, well, that's her home. She bought it. And then there were rumors in the neighborhood, because that neighborhood, you know, people who were buying homes that much in that were either surgeons, lawyers, okay, in the medical field. You know, I don't remember many business people. At that time, I remember of the 10, there were 3 or 4 homes that were purchased by surgeons within the area, okay? And then there was a couple lawyers, and then so then there were rumors going around. And one day, one of the surgeons of the home caught me in the front when I just pull in, and they noticed that it seems like she never goes to work, because what happens was I would go to work like at 6 a.m. in the morning, because, you know, the stock market opens at 6:30. And so they were still kind of sleeping already when I left, right? And then the stock market would close at 1. And my investment bank office was just around the corner. So I would always run home like around 1:30 to grab some food, and I would go back to the office. So they would see me at home every day, like around 1 or 2 to 3. And then I would come back in the evening to either go out to dinner or get some work done before the next morning. So they always see me in the afternoon. So then one day I was pulling in, one of the surgeons walking out from the other model home to pick up his floors or whatever the case may be with his wife. And then so he left his wife in the car waiting for him. And he came to me and he said, you know, excuse me, you know, I just want to share with you, I'm part of the neighborhood. I just want to check your name. My name is Dr. So-and-so. And I said, oh, hi, Dr. So-and-so. And so he was asking me, he said, we've heard that this is your home. And I said, yeah. I just bought, you know, I don't have time, you know, so I bought the model home. I just want to live right away. I don't have time to buy furnitures or stuff like that. And so he right away, I mean, he was a surgeon, so he was very respectful. He said, do you mind if I ask you a question? Because it's been, you know, swirling around within the neighborhoods. And I don't think anybody dared to come and ask you, but you seem like a very nice young woman. So I hope you don't mind. I said, sure, just ask me, what is it? And they said, is this new money or old money? Do you know what that means, right? So
yeah, of course. Like
so
like
so
the old money tends to like look down upon new money because like, oh, you earned this in a different way than I earned it.
okay. So to those who don't understand what that means, what that surgeon was trying to mean was, if it was old money, that means that they're saying that somebody in my family probably died, like my mother, my father, my
Oh,
grandparents die and left me a huge will. Okay, that's called old money because I didn't earn it, right? And that I have all that money to oh hi, the mompreneur. So I have that money because I was so young, right? To do, and of course, every day I pull up in a Mercedes 500 SL, right? So I got the car, I got the mansion, and I was like 20 something, right? And then new money would be is that I earn it myself. So right away, and I say, oh, is that why? I've noticed there are gossips, but I've never had a chance to meet everybody in the neighborhood because you guys haven't moved in yet. I know all of you guys are busy building your homes, but I heard some gossip about me. So, so you can tell them that this is new money. Okay. No one in my family died. My mother's still alive. My dad's still alive. And even if they're alive, they're very poor. Okay.
yeah.
They're super poor. So my grandparents definitely are not rich, etc. So tell everybody in the neighborhood that Jenny lives here. It's new money. Nobody died. And I have an investment bank around the corner. So at that time, we still had what it's called business cards. These days, we don't anymore. We either say, here's my LinkedIn, here's the QR, whatever the case may be. So back then, I still give away business cards. And I said, this is my business card of my investment bank. I'm the founder and CEO of it. And the next thing, all of them opened their 401ks, IRAs, and stuff with me. They came to they passed around my card. So I was literally the investment bank for that entire neighborhood. So that's was a long and short story. Yeah. So that was one. I've never shared it before. So.
I feel like that could be like a movie or at least a mini series on like Netflix or Hulu or something. That'd be I feel like people would want more. One of the things you mentioned is parents saying like, oh, you don't sleep with anyone until you've accomplished X or Y or Z. I feel like there's a very thin line between those parents that continuously cockblock their kids and want their kids to remain like pure, and then at something happens and then a day changes, like, hey, when am I having grandkids? Like, you told me my entire life to not sleep with anyone and now you want grandkids. I feel like a lot of parents do that. Maybe not a lot, but a healthy minority.
Especially Asian, you're absolutely correct. But yeah. I think these days, like I know my mom, she is super modern, so she's first generation. I wasn't born here, so I guess I can say I'm first generation. I guess second generation would be I was born here, but but my mom, I think when I say that she's modern is because she's not old culture, where old culture, Asian culture would be, you got to marry, you got to have kids and you got to be home, let your husband go work. I think my mom knows me, that when she gave birth to me, I'm just an abnormal child, right? And so she never put such pressure on me at all. She only reminds me, to choose, a good person. And because she says, going through divorces are 100 to 1,000 times more difficult than getting married. Just like I think I've shared this before, buying a mansion, buying a car, just like what I've shared, is very simple. But how, when you maintaining it, like cars break down, when you get in an accident, you got to have insurance to pay for it. Maintaining it is more difficult than buying that car or buying that mansion. Like my mansion, I hire like 2 maids, right? They come and they clean the big house. And then, I always come home and say, oh, the house is clean, But then again, if you live by yourself, you barely touch every corner of the mansion, I only need to have it clean up like when I have a party with my friends coming over and stuff like that. So, but anyway, Randy.
So there's this will kind of lead into, I guess, one of my next questions. Booth says Jenny is crazy attractive dog, radical dog. By looking at you at first glance, no one would expect that you've been in this game for a quarter century, given how young you look. So do you think that your youth and beauty are baneful because you'd rather have people focus on your mind? Or are they a boon for you because it helps open doors and gives your mind an opportunity to perform and wow potential investors and partners?
Well, that's another great question. And I'm going to give you a powerful truth answer, raw, to the women out there who gets inspiration from me, the young women, Gen Z, those who come across watching this. You guys just heard how I grew up very conservatively. I was raised by a, oh no, prove them wrongs. Prove them wrong, Sleepy.
Sleepy's crazy successful.
Yeah, well, I know he's one of your good friends, so it's all cool. So super conservative, right? And so I think I took that conservativeness through my business approach. My parents want grandkids, but dating is still kind of a forbidden topic at home. Nah, that's Guaning. I don't believe that. But anyway, yeah. So what happens was, as I built my first millions, and then I grew from there. Men obviously starting hitting on me, and I'm gonna be honest right now too. Not just men hit on me, but women also hit on me. Okay, so we're in a world today. I have a lot of friends. If Guaning was here, she's gonna laugh her ass off because I always butcher this, right? I have a lot of friends in the LGBTQ world. Did I get that right? LGBT. I think I got it, Guaning. Don't kill me. In the LGBTQ world, okay? So I respect everybody because everybody is a human being, right? So anyway, back then I was in my 20s. I got hit on, men, women, whatever the case may be. So, but you're right on one thing, Randy, that in the world today, even back then, if you have both, that's why there's a thing that says she has brains and beauty and brain, right? If you have one of the two, then you rather choose to have a brain over beauty, right? Yeah. But if God forbidden, the Lord gave you both, I think I am pretty lucky to have both, okay? I believe I have both, even though I'm 300 years old, okay? But I started out with my brain first, right? And the part that I wanted to share, even till this very day, okay, is that no man out there, okay, can say that I got to where I am today because of that man, okay? That's why as publicly as I am today, I've said this once before. I think it was on one of the other show. I forgot her name. All of a sudden, I went blank. But she interviewed me like over 2 hours. So we went through a lot too at that with that one. I do believe she's towards Donald Trump though. So I recently had a tweet thing with her on Twitter.
Yeah, you've been going hard on Twitter. Sorry, we'll get to that later, but keep going.
Yeah. So I'm pretty hard on Twitter. So I did say on her, because she asked me a question personal. I don't know if it made it on her YouTube though. That I said that I've said this before, that I would write any man out there immediately a check for $10 million if he can prove that I slept with him to get to where I am today. And the reason why I said that, because I can guarantee you that never happened. Okay. So I'm very conservative of who I date or who I quote unquote get in bed with, if per se, right? I mean, I'm talking to you, Randy, you're a dude. And guys like you, of course, the more the merrier. It's a guy thing. I get it.
Whoa.
Oh, we know you. There was one time when the ladies and I'm not going to squeal on you. I think you were traveling somewhere. So did you guys know this? So remember?
Yeah.
And he was in a hotel. He was actually in a hotel. And then after we got off live, he turned around and he said, "Are you okay?" And there was a woman on his bed, right? But this was already offline. So I'm putting him on a spot right now, right? So I'm not sure if that was his girlfriend or who. But hey, everybody has a life, and you guys are guys, especially if you guys are single men. I get it. Most of my friends are men. Okay. So I know how it works, but men are men and I'm different. So back to your question is, especially now in this day and age, right, that I've gone all those years and I kept myself, quote unquote, clean. Let's just say clean. I ain't going to do shit now. You get what I'm saying? Why would I need that now? Right. So I'm even more cautious of who I date or who I quote unquote get in bed with, so at the end of the day, I want the world out there to know that every dollar, every success that I made for myself is with this two bare hands and this head, right? So I do believe it's true. If you are beautiful and you also have a brain, that's a God gave it to you. Take it and run with it. Okay. If God gave you a brain and the beauty and you turn around and you depended on a man or you be submissive. Is that the word, Randy? Being submissive?
Yeah. Typically that categorizes a lot of women, but men can be submissive as well. I've seen a lot of, especially recently, videos. I have a few friends that they have OnlyFans, and some of their clients, and it's most of their clients that are like, you would never suspect it. They're like business people, red power ties. They look very manly, and they want to be like dominated. They want to be told to like kneel down and crawl to them and put stuff in their mouths and have stuff, other things happen to them. I won't get too graphic. And it's like, yeah, that's been a really interesting development over, I think, the last like 15 years, that certain type of men are becoming pretty submissive. And then you have the other ones that people would call like soy boys, that are just the opposite end of them, which are also submissive. But I'll leave it at that.
Okay. Yeah. So, so the bottom, again, I went long-winded and then I'll circle back to you. The bottom line is, brain goes first. Again, if God gives you up to two things, if you were to ask, "Oh dear Lord, can you give me something?" Between a brain and good look, ask God to give you a brain. Okay, that's number one. Give you a brain. If you're a brain, even if you're not as good looking, you're still fine. Okay. But of course, if God bless you, the Lord bless you, then he will bless you with both. And if you're a woman and you are blessed with both, don't throw that out and then be dependent of a man. You can marry a wealthy man. That's not what I'm saying. You can be with, a man who has power, money. But then if you're with a man who has power and money, he's going to be more powerful than you regardless, right? So you have to be, dependent on him anyway. But if you marry someone who is at your par, keep what God has given you. What that means is if he gave you the looks, he gave you the brain, keep that. Make it make yourself powerful. I mean, don't take what God giving you, and again, be dependent of a man. I mean, I'm not saying that's wrong, okay, but that's what I believe. I grew. That's what I believe. Now, just because I believe that, that doesn't mean I'm right, I'm wrong. It just how I live my life. And if I were to have kids, and if I were to have a daughter, or like adopt Kuan Ning's kid or something one day,
Oh.
you know, I would advise her that. I would advise her that, because these days being independent is just so good. I mean, it's definitely good. So I'll end it right there.
That was I guess I want to go over a couple things there. One, you said that, you were cautious when you were younger and now you're super cautious, but and I've asked this before, and I think it was just a little controversial, saying, why do you hate love? And I know you don't hate it, but why not allow yourself the freedom to have a little fun? Why not? I don't think there's anything wrong. Maybe this is like new age stuff, and it's not old school, it's not traditional, but I think it's okay for people to have a little fun in their lives, to have something fun that maybe doesn't mean anything. And I'm not talking about the girl that I had in that hotel room. She's awesome and great, but in general, I think it's okay for people to kind of get a little crazy sometimes with someone that maybe doesn't mean too much to them.
Well, that's, you ask things that, good questions, Randy, that, that brings out the side of me that I rarely talk about. And again, and because everybody knows that, hey, with Jenny Ta, she's said before, if you ask, she's gonna answer. So just ask her, right?
Yeah.
But the way that I like your question, Randy, is it's raw in one asset, but it's clean. Let's just say clean,
Yeah.
and respectful. So I appreciate that. So my answer would be this way, is that I think, like, if I was in my 30s, right? That's 290 years ago. I'm 300 now. No, I'm just kidding.
Of course.
Then it's still, of course, I think obviously you kind of see I'm stuttering because I'm trying to think of what to say. Okay.
Yeah.
Is I want to give away the answer, but I also want it to also keep my privacy. And so that's why sometimes the answer could be a little bit more difficult than it seems. But anyway, when it comes to love, okay, we all want love. And especially, I'm an Aries, okay? If you read anything about Aries is very passionate. They have high sex drive, okay? They love passion. They're very sappy. Sappy meaning that if they, if they choose to, they can be very romantic, okay? And I'm known to be that, okay? But how am I going to say this? Okay. I think with me now, because I have a net worth, okay, it's harder to know who's genuine and who is not genuine, right? Like, let's just say 10 or 20 years ago, my net worth is not as where I'm at today, right? I don't have to worry about that. I don't have to worry about that. So, but still, I was conservative regardless, right? I can date. I could go to dinner, lunches, whatever, even holding hands, kissing, or whatever the case may be. Hi, James. But when it comes to getting in bed, that's a different story. Okay. Yeah. That's where I get super conservative. Okay. But now I'm even more conservative than that. So if you just say, well, why, Jenny? What's the difference? I think the difference is per se. Okay, let me give you an example. let's just say I go on a date with a guy. Okay, let's just say I'm super into him. I think he's good looking. He's this and that. You know, and let's just say, you know, let's do a one night stand, right? Which I can tell you right now, that's not in my book. Okay, but I'm just giving you a scenario right now. Okay,
Sure.
that's never in my book. And anybody out there, if I ever done a one night stand with you, come onto the Randy show, DM him, and I write you a check for $1 million. Okay, that shows it. 2 night stand, $2 million. Okay, $2 million. Okay, so but that's to tell you that's just not me. Okay, now people say, okay, does that mean has Jenny ever slept with anybody? Well, of course. Okay, of course I do, because I've talked about it. We all have needs. Okay, I would not look this way, do this way if I don't fulfill my needs, right? I have a mansion, exactly. Okay, so you know, but the thing about it is, when I get in bed with someone, I gotta really trust them. Okay, I really gotta trust them. Okay, so if a guy like you, Randy, I know this may not have crossed your mind, so you might say, you and your friends might say, what the fuck does Jenny means when she trusts him, when they go to bed with him? Trust him meaning that I don't wake up with you the next morning and said, oh shit, what the fuck did I do? He's going to go out there and say, oh my God, I just slept with Jenny Todd the night before. Okay, she's good this, she did that, we did this, did that. I don't want that. You know, I don't want that, because I'm so private and I'm so public at the same time. Imagine if I slept with someone the night before, and if I don't trust him, I don't know what he could do the next day, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you get my point. So it's not just about the money. Okay, this might be the best interview you've done. Okay, so there you go. Especially from me. So he got a good guess, and then he asked the right question. You know, that's just me. I hope that answer, you know, gives you and your listener the answers that you want from a person like me. I don't know if there's another person out there that's like me. Okay.
Oh, there's tons.
But I know there's tons. Okay, go ahead,
Yeah.
share.
I just, and again, I feel like people that want to make a lifelong goal of like being in politics, okay, they can't be seen sleeping around or doing much, because a lot of the opposition will look into them and be like, hey, this person did this person did that, and it's often seen as a negative. That happens in beauty pageants, it happens in a lot of social circles. But part of me that is a very romantic, like I find it sad when some people say that they don't read comic books, because it's some of the greatest works of literature that I've ever read. And some people say the same thing that don't watch anime. Like, I don't watch cartoons. It's like some of it, whether it's live action or animated, it doesn't change that good writing is good writing, and it can take you into a world that you wouldn't have otherwise known. I think why Titanic was so good is because it happens with two people that should never have met, but they do meet, and then you just have this amazing feeling. Like I feel like most people know that spark of just, you meet someone, you click, and then just passion takes over. And I feel like I understand 100% what it's like to be cold and calculating and to plan every move. I think that's what makes us successful investors. But I just find that, like, my sorrow grows for people that don't let themselves do that. And obviously what you're doing has worked for you. You're one of the most, if not most successful women that I know. I just wish that you could experience all that life has to offer, and not just it's like the dark side trying to approach the light side of the force, saying the light side only focuses on this much of the force, where the dark side encompasses most of it. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but it comes from a place of love, though.
No, I know. I totally get what you're saying, and I get what you're saying. I do have a dark side.
Hmm.
And that dark side, of course, it's like my private life. I do get crazy. House of Cards in real life. So, but again, I do those dark sides of mine, which is the private side of mine, with the very few. I mean, if I say few, would be like probably I can count them within one hand, not even two hands. Two hands might be like way too many. Okay. So probably just a few that I trust that I could do that, because right now my public image is more important to me. And I've been building that for my entire life, right? Uh I'm also human beings. Like hi Booth. I'm also a human being. So I would be an alien per se, but I'm not, even though I'm 300 years old. If I don't love romance, if I don't love sex, if I don't love dark things, I mean, definitely I don't like to drink. If I kept it all these years, I'm not going to start now, but because these days the I think the trend is everything going natural. Like there's natural makeup, natural food, wholesale foods that are labeled with certain numbers that have been spray on. I'm not sure if you guys heard about that, but I'm really into that because as you get older, you wanted to stay young. You got to learn about those things, because what you put in your body helps you to take care of your cell inside your body, and then the cell grows and keep you young or make you look old. Okay, so I want it to look young. I mean, I want to be like when I'm 1,000 years old, I still look like I'm 300. So but I get you, Randy. We all have a dark side, especially if you are a human being. Okay, so the few that I share my dark side with, I had to use my intuition to make that calculated bet that this person would not throw me under the bus, or would not sabotage who I am, that I built, for the last so many years. So when you come down to that, it's very minuscule. It's like within one or two people. Okay, because these days the word trust doesn't. It's hard to get that these days. So as long as I have that, I'm cool. So that's why it's that much harder for me to look, for
He has a
dating,
lot to lose.
I could just snap my finger and boom, I can have one any day, anytime. Okay. To relationships or to get in bed with someone, that's a little bit more difficult. So because to get to that stage, not only do they have to earn my trust, but here's the important thing, that I have to trust them. I hope you guys know there's two ways when it comes to trust. Yeah. If the person that on the other side is good and manipulative enough to try to earn my trust, okay, it takes two to tango. You can earn my trust, but that doesn't mean that I would trust you. Okay, so if I trust you, that's a totally different ballgame. If I trust you, you can practically get me to do whatever the fuck you want, right? So, but that's a lot harder to do.
So I have so many questions, and if you trust me, I would like this to go for like 4, maybe 5 hours. It's been almost an hour. I just want to know how long I have you for.
Well, the thing about it, you can have me as long as you want. But
4 hours, you heard her.
But the thing about it is, I just don't want to bored your audience. Okay, so
there's more people here now than there were an hour ago, so we're good.
Oh wow. Okay, so You have me as long as you want, but let's just go by years. And if we start seeing people start dropping off, that's a sign for us to,
Yeah.
cut it. But
Well,
I'm
190
all
people
yours
here.
today, Randy. I'm all yours.
Okay, great. It's about 190 people here right now. That'll grow as time goes on. So I told you before we started, I drank last night, but the first time in weeks, and my body like did not like it. So now I'm going to have to like suppress that part of myself because my body has made it apparent that it will no longer tolerate it. At least the heavy drinking. The White Claws are probably still fine, I hope. But you've said that you suppress your feelings for others when it comes to romantic love and feel in fear of getting burned. And you just said sometimes you suppress your darker side. What other parts of you do you suppress, and why?
Well, it's funny. I think we were on a Twitter space yesterday. I think Kuan Ning was in there. It was on Amy's space. Cam's was in there. And I think there was a part that we talk about our feelings and getting upset, right? I mean, I'm an Aries. I'm so proud that God, let me be an Aries. Okay. So I'm thankful to God every day. I mean, the universe has blessed me of many things that I am totally blessed. Now, if I were to be rebirthed again in another body, I would love to be an Aries again. I love being an Aries. And to those who know about being an Aries, is we are fire signs. Okay. Like within the three ladies and myself, I'm a fire sign. Kuan Ning is a fire sign too. And then Michelle is a Scorpio. A Scorpio. So Michelle is a water sign. And then Cam's, I believe she's an Aquarius. And Aquarius is an air sign. Okay. So obviously I get along with fire signs. Okay. So, because when fire get with fire, it just can only burn bigger. Right.
Yeah.
With air sign is good too, because again, use common sense. If you guys don't know about zodiacs, what happens with fire and air? Air blows fire bigger, right? Air would blow fire bigger, right? Michelle is a water sign. Water and fire tend not to clash, right? Because water puts out fire, right? But the positive side between water and fire is that it creates steam, right? Steam,
Yeah.
passion, steam, love. The only thing is, and I'll be raw here, of the three ladies and me, Michelle and I kind of clash the most. Okay, we pick on each other, we fight the most, and now I kind of see why. It makes sense. The only thing that I don't get, and I asked myself this the last couple of days, is I don't know why the universe put Scorpio and Aries in the same planet called Mars. Okay,
Yeah.
those of you guys who know about zodiacs, Scorpios and Aries share the same planet, Mars. Okay, why? I mean, if they fight, if they're opposite, why do they share? Why don't I just share the planet with somebody else, like Leo, like Kuan Ning, right? Why doesn't the universe said, okay, I'm gonna make Aries and Leo share the same planet? Okay, so that's something I will never understand. Okay, is why does an Aries and a Scorpio, which seems like they don't collide, okay, the same planet? Does that mean the universe want to teach me to? Okay, but anyway, that's another story. But you were asking about, so I think the reason why I kind of went out and now I'm going to go back in is being a fire sign, we're very hot. Hot meaning that it go, something like, a little bit, and you get snappy, you just get snappy. But the thing about Aries is that, like, if I date someone and I get upset, I cool down very fast, very fast. Those, like some of my very good friends, like the one that's less than 5, whenever they see I get snappy, they just leave it alone, and then immediately they know I just cool down. And I think by working with the ladies, they know that too. And I think that's a good trait. I'm not sure if it's an Aries or it's me, is that you have to know yourself. Okay. So I already know I'm snappy, and I already know to control me being snappy, because, you know, I think so fast, and, you know, whenever things kind of like not align, I just get frustrated, you know, and then sometimes that frustration, I hold it in, and then sometimes I can't hold it in. I have to blow it out. So you were asking me, what else do I suppress? I think it's that part. It's like when you're working with people, or like when I have a fun, like when I fund a project, and then they would tell me something 2 weeks ago that they're gonna like boom, boom, boom. I mean, I'm very hardcore when it comes to that. If you tell me you're gonna do something, you better do it, okay? Because I remember everything, and I'm gonna come back at you, right? And so, you know, like if I wrote a check to fund a project, and I say, okay, what are you guys gonna do the next? Let me know what you guys gonna do the next 2 weeks and the next 4 weeks. And they would send me an email, and they would list out, you know, blah, 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 blah. And then 2 weeks later, I would go to them and I would say, okay, it's been 2 weeks. This is your list. Tell me what's the result. And then if they come back and say, well, Jenny, you know, my mother was sick, you know, there's emergency, you know, I'm the type that I don't accept excuses, because successful people do not have excuses. I'm sorry. Okay. So successful people do not accept excuses, because through thick, thin, rain, dry, up the hill, down the aisle, your car ran out of gas, your car break down, do whatever it is to get to that next destination. That's how successful people do it. Because if successful people, okay, accept excuses, I'm sorry, but they're never gonna be successful. So those who are with me, okay, it's fine that they give themselves excuses, okay, on their own time, their own money, or whatever the case may be. But don't give me excuses. Once or twice, maybe 3 or 4 times. I probably wouldn't even let them last after the second time. Okay, I say keep it to yourself. So either you're with this, swallow your, because if I have to suppress myself, then you got to suppress yourself, because you should know when you work with a project like me, like successful people, not just me, but when you work with successful people, they don't give a shit about excuses. If your family members die, great, tell me. Okay, take 10 days off. Okay. If you have personal problems, you just broke up with a dude, you're crying, great, take 2 weeks off. Okay. But don't be dangling around here wanting to know everything and then don't do shit. Okay. So back to your question, I have to suppress myself a lot, because if I don't, okay, I'm very hardcore, and a lot of people cannot take that. So I can handle myself. Like if I have another Jenny Ta that I work with, Jenny Ta, I can handle her fine, right? But sometimes I have to tell myself that people may not be able to handle Jenny Ta. So that's why I have to suppress myself, because I'm thinking, I have empathy for that person, and I don't think about myself. So that's where I would suppress myself. It's more or less like, you know, I run fast, I think fast, you know, I just want to hustle and just do it, you know, but not everybody is like that.
Yeah. I to turn that around, we were talking about suppression. I think it was Pindar that said, become who you are by learning who you are. So what qualities do you lean into Like, what helps make you you? What makes Jenny Kuta Jenny Kuta?
Well, there's two sides of me, first of all. To my personal friends, they know that I'm very helpful. Okay. If they ask me anything and I just don't do it, I do it with passion. And I do it as if whatever they're asking me, if it was my own, I do it with perfection. I do it with top of the line, even if I have to stay up to 3 o'clock that morning to finish it. And it's nothing for me. It's because, of course, I don't do this for everyone. Okay. Because if I do, I would literally kill myself. I can't do that. Right. But to my personal friends, okay, if they ask me something, if I agree to do it, I would do it with passion, and I would help them with the top of the line. Okay.
Yeah.
But, and of course, obviously, integrity, honesty, that I will always give. And that's with both personal and business. And those who follow me on Twitter, maybe that's why my Twitter views has been affected, even though I don't tweet much about politics, but I do choose my retweets, right? I retweets like a bunch of stuff. So I guess retweets would means it's the same thing as you're saying it, right? And I don't mind, I don't mind about that. So I do retweet a lot of politics, and maybe that's why my views got affected, but I don't give a shit. Okay. I think that's me, Randy. I mean, I've lived all my life, my career, integrity, honesty, empathy. You got to have empathy. Okay.
Of course.
And that's all I have. And that's why when I get towards people who are bad, I say, oh, this person is bad. Okay. In real life, I would stay away from them. Okay. I block them on Twitter or on social media.
Yeah.
I would just block them. So whatever it is that they do, like, for example, Elon Musk, I block everything and everybody that he comments or he tweets. I block them all. So the algorithm on Twitter of those people and him, they don't get on my timeline. But recently, I still see things that I don't even follow get on my timeline. And as soon as I see that, because when it gets on my timeline, it gets into my algorithm, right? Of my page.
That's the For You page, though, right? Because there's a For You page and there's the people that you follow. So you're talking about the For You page, right? Because you said you don't. Oh.
Yeah, because I follow 62.3 thousand people. That's a lot of people. So, but at the end of the day, here, I like to be around good people, honest people, clean people. That's why I tend to say I'm the white knight. Okay. I do work with those that I consider they are dark knights, but not too dark. Okay. If you're like way too dark, no. Okay. Goodbye. I don't need that in my life, so that's, I guess you could say that, that just people who know me in business or in personal, that just, I give it my all, integrity, honesty, and empathy. So there you go.
Very good. So speaking of X, I posted there last night. It was a picture of me and some friends, and a picture of a tattoo shop. And I was asking people what I should get. And people had they had fan art, they had Pokemon stuff that I would like. So question for you is, how much would you pay for somebody to get the tetherball meme tattooed on them?
Well, first of all, I believe in tattoos. So I do have other tattoos. Oh, there goes Randy.
Yeah,
Tattoos.
Tattoo it up.
What are those? Share those. What are those?
So this is the Triforce. It's known as the 3 pieces of power. Oh God, I can't even remember it right now. It's power, courage, and wisdom. And then here's Paper Mario. It's a version of Mario 64. Here he's jumping on Yoshi. Now Yoshi, the lore is like anything he touches with his tongue, he can eat and turn into an egg. But Kirby, anything that he sucks in or is in that vicinity of his sucking area, that sounds really weird. But he can eat and he gains the power of whatever he eats. So I thought that would be really cool. The Pokeball I got when in 2014. Oh my God, it was 10 years ago already. And Donkey Kong I got when I was at Harry Potter World. And I was on a bunch of Lucy with a friend, and I got the tattoo there. It was that was a lot of fun. So I also love tattoos. I was born in the year of the horse, so I got the
Yes, I was gonna say that's a Chinese word for horse. So yeah. I'm sure with all of us who do use tattoos, right? Mm-hmm. I have these two are public. I'm not gonna share if I have any tattoos privately, but because that's private, right? But I got this just a couple years ago, and I wanted to ask you. I kind of can take a guess that you chose to do those tattoos because you love them, like you love Mario Brothers. You love because isn't it true that when we each get a tattoo, there's got to be a meaning behind it, right? Like some dudes put tattoos of their girlfriend, and then when they break up, they'd have to go change it again. I think that's the stupidest thing ever. I have friends who tattoo their names or something. They're like their Chinese names or Asian names. Cool. But go ahead. Was that right when you chose your tattoos?
For me, yes. I got horse because I was born in the year of the horse, and I love this one manga called Fruits Basket, and it's about this girl who she stumbles upon this family and she learns of their family curse. And the curse is that anytime a member of their family hugs a member of the opposite sex, they turn into their zodiac animal. And this one girl, Rin, she embodies the spirit of the horse. And she was a little very teenage angsty, very like the world is against me. And eventually she learns that a lot of it just happens to be because of her own decisions. And it wasn't really the world that was against her. The world is mean. The world can be a dark and scary place. But like General Iroh said in Legend of Korra, if you look for the light, you can often find it. But if you look for the dark, that's all you'll ever see. So I got, again, all these have meaning. Like this one says, may I never be perfect. It says, may I never be perfect. It's from a book called Fight Club.
Yeah, we're not perfect. That's a good one.
Yeah, it's written in my friend Patty's handwriting. We both love the book Fight Club, and we wrote something and we got it tattooed on each other because, again, love. I think that's great. But yeah, how much would you pay to have somebody get the tetherball meme tattooed on them? Free advertising for life.
Well, first of all, again, I've always shared this with Quaning, Cams, and Michelle. Every time when you do something or you answer a question, everything has a pro and a con, right? So, because I guess I'm very analytical, and everything to me, when you an analyst, everything there's a pro and a con, right? Yeah. So when you ask this, I'm sure somebody can give you a really simple answer. Oh, well, I'm going to pay for his or her tattoo. And then I'm probably going to, because tattoo, I don't know how much you pay for it, but I had to fly to San Francisco to get these two tattoos. Okay, so on the right side of mine, so perfect imperfections. Yes, Quaning's correct. So on the right side, it's Chinese, obviously. It says, what is love? Okay, what is love? Oh, you got to understand why I tattoo that, right?
Yes.
Because I cannot define what is love. Okay, so that's why I got that tattoo. And then on this side, it says it's also Chinese, and it says thinking of you, thinking of you. Okay, so thinking of you. So there was a time in my life, obviously, it has to do with love. Okay. And as I mentioned, prior to these two tattoos, I've never had tattoos before. which I've shared. I grew up with a very conservative mother.
Yeah.
There's no way she would let me get tattoos. But this happened, I would say maybe 3-4 years ago. So something happened around that time that I wanted to do these 2 tattoos for a reason. And of course, it's connected to love. Okay. So I had to go find a tattoo artist. He has to be truly Chinese, because only a Chinese artist can write Chinese. Because at that time, I read somewhere that Justin Bieber, okay, did either a Chinese character made in Korea tattoo. That's hilarious.
Sleeping. I love you so much. I'm sorry. Keep going.
Yeah. So, so Justin Bieber, I think he got like a Chinese word or something, but that artist was not Chinese. And he wrote it and it ended up to look more like a Japanese word. And then so if it was a Japanese word, it has a totally different meaning. And I think ever since it broke the news, I think he had it like cover up or something like that. So when I read that, I definitely did not want a non-Chinese tattoo artist to do these 2 things for me. Okay. So I found him and he was in San Francisco, and I call him up. And at that time, it was really weird. Here's another story, right? So I found him on Instagram. Actually, I did research and I couldn't find his phone number, but I was sent to him, and I found his Instagram, but he hasn't been posting for like 6 months. And then so I took a shot by sending him a DM, and I said, "Hey, I heard you're such a great tattoo artist for Asian characters, especially Chinese. I've never done a tattoo. I read about you. I trust you. I live in Orange County, but I'm willing to fly up to San Francisco if you can do these tattoos for me. This is my phone number, and this is my Instagram." I even show him my Instagram page so he would know that I'm not like fake, right? And I'm telling you, I saw so many hilarious Chinese tattoo from my friends. I don't even know what to say to them. You see? So yeah. So then anyway, lo and behold, and I even said maybe this was the part that it caught his attention. I said, "I will pay you whatever the price is."
Yeah.
Right? So he messaged me. He actually texted me because I gave him my phone number. I said, I'm not on Instagram all the time. Can you just text me? So let me know. And then I don't see you. I haven't seen you posting for like 6 months. So I don't even know if you're still around. So he texted me, and he's actually Chinese. And he said, "Hey, Jenny, I got your DM. Yeah, there's a lot of personal things going on with my life. I haven't been to the shop, his tattoo shop, for over 6 months. But I read your story." That's what he said. He said, "I read your story, and I'm going to go to the tattoo shop and I'll do it for you. And because I think you have a really cool story, and tattoo artists like myself, and I'm not reaching out to you because of the money. You told me that you pay me whatever. I'm just going to charge you the normal rate. But of course, you got to fly up here." And I booked the first flight. I flew up and I met with him, and he did it for me. And I forgot how much he charged me, but I remember it wasn't that much, because obviously if it was a lot, I would have remembered, right? So I flew up, and he did the tattoo for me. I remember it was really painful. And then, so back to your question. First of all, I don't know about the ladies, but since you're asking me, my answer would be the very first person that wears this TBALL tattoo, he or she has to be honorable, because we can write a media piece about her or him. So just because anybody comes out and said that, "Hey, Jenny, pay me, I'll get a TBALL tattoo," of course, money to me doesn't mean anything. Okay. because I've done tattoos. I know how much it costs.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not going to fly anybody from wherever to San Francisco. You could get a tattoo locally there of TBALL, right? But for me, I would want to check who is that person, you know, because that person is going to be forever be the first person that got the TBALL tattoo. And with TBALL, especially under me, we pride on being honest, integrity, putting out raw truth facts. And if that first person getting a tattoo has a bad reputation, I don't want that. So that's my answer for you.
So there's I'm trying to find it now. For some reason I can't, but there's somebody that got the real Randy Chavez tattoo of themselves, of me, or they have it of my name. And it was, I don't know, I guess like April, I guess, of like 2021 maybe. And I'll find it if I can, but honorable can be defined in many different ways. You know, one person that I might find honorable, you might find some fault with, and some person that you might find honorable, there might be some things that they do that I disagree with. So as I run to the bathroom, I'm going to turn this up so people hear you. In your own words, can you define me? What is honorable to you? Not the Webster or Oxford English Dictionary, but how do you define it yourself? I'll be right back.
Okay. So, honorable. Wow. Honorable. Hi, people out there. I'm talking to Randy's wall, and I forgot his name. Any of Randy's friends? Oh, but then it doesn't show right away. But anyway, honorable to me, I think it has to go with a history of your action. You can't really be honorable at this moment, right? Like, for example, I have friends in the crypto world, right? They're so into crypto that to me, they would be dishonorable to literally, let's just say, back Trump, because they deal with people who back Trump per se, and especially if they're a woman. Okay, now Trump was the one that ripped women's freedom away from them, right? You know, so to me, that's not honorable. Honorable meaning that you don't do things just for yourself. You do things for others. You do things like, if I'm a woman, I have to do things that are honorable to protect other women. That's what I believe. Because honorable is not necessary in life. Don't think too much about yourself. Okay, I mean that you know, that I think that's just tacky, right? You know, you can talk about how smart you are, how good looking you are, because if you don't compliment yourself, nobody will. Okay, we all talk about self-love goes first. You got to love yourself first before you love somebody. So how can people compliment how smart you are, how good looking you are, if you don't believe that yourself? So I'm cool. I mean, you're not conceited, or you're just not arrogant if you say that, no, I think I'm smart. I you know, not think, I know I'm smart. Okay, I know I'm good. I know I'm successful. Sleep. I'll let Sleepy get a tattoo.
Sleeping is very honorable. He's a very honorable man.
Okay, so honorable is, you know, again, public or personal relationships and stuff like that. So that's honorable to me. Honorable is you gotta show a history of what you've done that is not only good for you, your friends, but also for society. Okay, that you're not, you know, a temporary jump ship, like because you're in crypto now, and there's a bunch of companies that you believe that are good for cryptocurrency, and they happen to choose Trump, and so you're with them, and you also choose Trump, even though you're a woman. Okay, you know, and so you're not honoring yourself. I mean, if you can't honor yourself, how can you be honorable? Because all you do is you're just a follower Okay, you're just following other people, or you follow what you love. Crypto. I love crypto. Hell, I back a crypto meme coin. Okay, so how can I back a crypto meme coin if I don't love crypto? Just because I love crypto, that doesn't mean I'm gonna back a fucking idiot, which I think Trump is. Okay, and I don't care how many crypto people out there. Okay, you see my tweets. I don't give a fuck. Okay,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna back Kamala Harris. It's because why? I'm gonna go against the man that took women's rights away from them, which is choosing what we want to do with our fucking bodies. Okay, that's nobody's right. I talked about this before, right? So I have friends, or I consider them as friends, okay, that do that. And so to me, I don't think that's honorable. I think that they're just a follower. I think that they, they disgrace themselves. If that were to be the case, I mean, I wouldn't deal with anyone anyway that are dark. Okay. I just tweeted out this morning. The news broke. Not sure if you caught it already. That CZ Binance literally now is banned for life. He's banned for life. He can't touch Binance anymore. And guess what? And I look at his wife. Let's just call it his wife, because she bears his 3 kids. Okay, so she hasn't tweeted since June, and what are we? September, right? Yeah. So I have a feeling. This is my speculation. Okay, I'm gonna give you not speculation. I'm gonna give you 2 forecasts. Okay, 2 forecasts. Okay, first about CZ Binance. Second, it's gonna be about Elon Musk. Okay. CZ Binance, because he made a deal. Now I understand why he only has 4 months in prison, because he should have a lot more. So he literally agreed to ban his entire life from touching Binance ever again. And so I bet you when he signed that, him and his wife, which is his baby's mama, his kid's mama, probably say, that's fine, honey. You take care of it. Okay. I talked about this before. Unless the CIA, the FBI sleeps with them in the same bed, like, CZ and his wife, and then the CIA is right there, which is impossible. So CZ probably said for his wife to take care of Binance. But I bet you now, I think this month, September, CZ's gonna get out of prison. So the past 4 months when he was locked in prison, I'm sure he talked to his wife, and I think the game has changed now. I shared this with Kwani and Cams this morning. This was my forecast, and I'm gonna share it publicly too as well. Yeah. After I look at his wife's Twitter, and she has not been tweeted since June, that tells me that they're going to sell Binance.
Huh.
They're going to sell Binance, and you know who is going to buy it? I'm forecasting that it's going to be some firm of traditional finance, like BlackRock, Fidelity.
Okay.
That's how elitism, these guys are elites, like ultra elites, right? That's how they monopolize, right? They're the monopolists, right?
Yeah.
That's how they kill the inventors. Like CZ was one of the original exchanges, even though he did dark, right? That's why he got put in prison. But he was one of the original innovators for crypto with Binance. Yeah. So now wealthy guys on Wall Street, traditional finance, they're getting into crypto. They're going to take the shortcut. They're going to go to the feds and have the feds lock him up and make him make that deal so that CZ and his wife will have no choice but to sell Binance, because they don't want to be in prison. Because even if they sell Binance, think about this, Randy. CZ and his wife could still probably have at least $2, $3, $4 billion in the bank with 3 kids. They cannot used that this entire lifetime. So to them, I think they say, you know what, honey, that's good enough. We still can buy a yacht. We could travel around the world. We're billionaires, right? Why bother with this shit? I mean, we've got it. We've done it. We got our billions. Let's just go away, disappear. Who gives a fuck? I don't care about people know if I'm CZ Binance anymore. I'm just going to sell it. I bet you that's exactly what they're going to do. And that traditional Binance going to take over the Binance system. And they're going to switch it up, fix it up or whatever. And they're going to launch it under traditional finance of some sort. So that's why I kept saying crypto is here to stay. And we're going to see that next. Now, that's my forecast. My second forecast is about Elon Musk. So Elon Musk has been going crazy with Twitter. He's been switching up all of the algorithms. Okay, a lot of my tech friends, they can see it. Okay, they know he switched up a lot of the algorithms, all of the views and all of the likes, and it's going towards those who are pro Trump. All the views, all the likes are being towards them. Okay, so everybody who's following me, following my likes, or the accounts are connected to Kamala Harris. I mean, not just the TBALL team, but like all of my other friends. The views are dropping. The likes are dropping. Okay, some of their videos cannot be seen. So Twitter's a mess. So here's my forecast. Elon is at the stage right now that he does not give a damn about Twitter. He bought Twitter because he planned for this election. Okay, that is correct. And that's why my friends know about it. Okay, so, you know, so Elon already knows that if Trump loses, and based upon the data right now, Trump will lose. Okay, the MAGAs, the maggots, you know, make America great again, and Trump, they're never going to be seen again. Because Trump is nearly 80 years old, okay? I don't care how good health he is, and based upon his belly and how fat he is, he's not in good health, okay? He's going to die soon, okay? And all of his MAGAs that goes with him, they're all going to die too. So Elon, Peter Thiel, and all the Russians or whatever they've been talking in the news these days, they're going to die out. Elon is going to sell Twitter, okay? Pennies on a dollar. He's going to sell Twitter. He bought it for $44 billion, right? I bet you he's going to sell it for probably $20 billion. Take back 20 billions. The 20 billion losses are those investors who gave him the money. So at the end of the day, yes, 44 billion. So at the end of the day, Elon's not going to lose anything. Okay. So, because if he keeps Twitter, for sure, the Kamala Harris administration is going to go after him hard. Okay.
Yeah, she would likely try to shut that down. And that's something that I wanted to go over as well. But sorry, finish your thought, and then we'll.
Oh no, I was done, Randy. That okay. all I'm saying is that that's my forecast. Is that people are saying that Elon is so stupid. He's not stupid. He's playing a game right now because he knows that if Elon loses, he also lost. So when Elon loses, he's going to turn back being the passive Elon and being the good Elon. He might hire a couple of PR firms and say, you know what? That was the darkest time of my life. I mean, all of these rich guys, you know, they got rich. You know why? Because they know how to lie. Okay. They're the best liars in the world. Okay. So they're going to lie again. So once when Trump loses, Elon's going to turn back to be the goody two-shoe Elon. PR firm's going to come out, write a bunch of stories. And Elon's going to say he was on drugs and that was the darkest time of his life. And now he's cleaning himself up. He already sold Twitter. Mark Cuban's going to take over. I hope that's true. Okay. Mark Cuban's going to take over. He's going to run Twitter. Twitter's going to be fine. And then Elon no longer owns Twitter. He's just a user now. Everything's back to normal. That's my forecast. It's going to happen. So right now, he's going to utilize Twitter as a weapon, okay, to rig this election. But you know what? after the loss of Hillary Clinton in 2016, trust me, the Democrats are not stupid, okay? They already got everything in place to deal with what happened in 2016, which if you guys don't know anything about that, Google it. It has to do with Facebook. So Elon is trying to copy that chapter from Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg, but using Twitter because, you know, like today, Zuckerberg is not in prison, okay? But Zuckerberg through Facebook did help Donald Trump to win that election against Hillary Clinton. So
How did he do
Elon
that?
thinks
Because I think Zuckerberg is pretty pro-left. I think Zuckerberg's pretty pro-Democrat. Maybe I'm remembering that.
They do. Watch what they do. Never listen to what they say, right? Zuckerberg is pro-Democrat because Facebook is in Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
And Silicon Valley at the time was very pro-Democrat. Peter Thiel was pro-Democrat. Peter Thiel is no longer Democrat. Larry Ellison of Oracle, he's one of the most wealthiest, richest man also in the world. He moved out of Silicon Valley, and I think he moved to Texas, where Elon is at. So I don't believe what they say. I watch what they do, but go ahead and ask your questions. But I will share that story. There's another company that was connected with Facebook, and together those two companies were the ones that made the big stories. Why the 2016 election was rigged against Hillary Clinton, and Trump ended up winning.
I mean, there's a ton of stuff working both for it. That 2016 was a wild time. You had the assassination of Harambe, and then that led to the whole downfall of civilization. Anyway, it seems that I guess we have a lot to go over. For Elon Musk, they have and I can't speak to the accuracy of it, but they have the community notes, which seems to be like their version of fact checking. And it says like, hey, this is true or this is misinformation. So as far as what Kamala wants to do, I think they are aligned in that they want to get misinformation out of there. They want to say like, hey, this is misinformation, and identify it and say this is something that is not, or it can't be proven that it's not misinformation. Right now you have people that want to do good, and their ideas of doing good are questionable. In Captain America Civil War, he goes and says, right now we have people that want to maybe put us somewhere that we shouldn't be, or maybe someplace that we should be, and they won't let us go. People have agendas, and agendas change. How can you assume that what Kamala says, that she wants to go in and destroy misinformation, which sounds good, how can you assume that she won't turn that around and say, well, anything that goes against what I say is right is misinformation, and essentially just bans free speech? Is that something that you're concerned with? Or do you think because of her character and her past, you think that's just a non-issue and a moot point because she's not all good, but mostly 100% good?
Well, you know, I would go in with this answer is that, you know, in life, like I said, you don't trust anybody. Just because I'm pro Kamala Harris, that doesn't mean I trust her or her administration 100%. I mean, I just told you 5 minutes ago with Zuckerberg. And by the way, I found that word. That company is called Cambridge Analytica scandal.
Okay.
So yes, Kuan Yin. There you go. Thank you. Cambridge Analytica is connected to Facebook and Zuckerberg. Okay. So they rig through Facebook. Okay. But of course, Mark Zuckerberg's got to allow it. How can you rig Facebook without Zuckerberg allowing it to happen? Okay. So, but Zuckerberg is not in prison. So Elon is trying to use the exact same card that Zuckerberg did, okay, to try to rig this election. pro-Russia to help Trump. But let's go back to your question, okay? Don't trust anybody, okay? Right now, there's a saying, right? What is that saying, Randy? I forgot. You between two evils, you have to choose the better evil. There's a saying, right?
The lesser of two evils.
Yes, the lesser of two evil, right? Personally, I don't like politics. I will never get into politics. But just because you don't like it doesn't mean that you don't learn from it. Because again, knowledge is power. Okay. You learn about it on your own. God gave you a brain. I tweet about this. God gave you a brain. So just use your brain. Okay. Don't just blindfold yourself and just trust people. So to answer your question, first, I'm going to answer you two parts. I built social media platforms before. So I know how algorithms work. Like when Elon bought Twitter, he wanted to go behind the scenes. That's why he fired everybody from Twitter and he sends in his people. Now, his people are the ones like I told you. I have 4 or 5 people that whatever I do, they will never betray me for whatever the case may be, right? I don't do any bad things, but just because I don't do any bad things, that doesn't mean that I want what I do like behind the curtains to be out in public, right? So when it comes to algorithm, Elon has 2 years to prepare. The guy is smart, okay, for this election, right? And so all those community notes that you mentioned, Randy, you know he can remove it, right? Okay. You know that on his side, his is Elon side, the Russian side, the Trump side, those who are on his side tweeting, he can turn off community notes and it won't work. Okay. So those misinformation, those tweets that are sending out, even though they're misinformation, and then the people will read it and they will say, well, okay, I don't see a community note. So maybe this is correct because Elon already turned that off. So Elon kept the community notes on the left side. The left is the Democrats, like people like me. Okay. So when it comes to Kamala Harris, I read this morning that the Biden administration is going to force Elon Musk, meaning that you think Elon Musk has community notes? Now the government comes in and they're going to put a force on that. Your community notes mean jack shit. That's what the Biden administration say, okay? We're going to come in and whatever it is that's misinformation, they're going to force Elon to remove it, okay? And I think that's good, okay? They're going to force him to remove it, okay? Because this is an election. And especially if they have proof, and I bet you they have proof. I mean, 2 days, it was yesterday that they dropped a bombshell with 4 people that's on Elon's side has been paid $100 million fucking dollars, okay? Or 10 million or whatever it is per week or per month by Putin, okay? That's a lot of money, right? And I think one of those 4 names, his name is Tim Pool. So his face is on my timeline. That's correct. He got chicken out. He's so scared shit, right? He actually, this is what I heard this morning when I was up in LA with my meeting. He was scared shit and he literally turned himself into the Fed. Okay, because he doesn't want to sit in prison. Okay. Damn. He turned himself into the feds, and now he's an open book. He's rigging on everybody. He's saying, okay, this guy got paid, this guy got paid, because you know what? When you're getting paid, they probably have a Zoom call, right, Corning? They probably have a Zoom call with Putin. Okay, Putin's gonna say, all right, I'm gonna pay you guys X millions or whatever. So he probably has a Zoom call with Putin, right? So he knows who's in those who's in those Zoom calls, okay? And so he's probably going to rig them all right now, okay? So my point with your question, Randy, is that I'm going to keep an eye on Kamala Harris. Obviously, I'm pro Kamala Harris right now, but when it comes to news, each of us gotta use our own brain, okay? And when you read something, when you retweet something, you better make sure, perception is a wild thing. You better make sure that that information is accurate. Just because it's being put out by Trump and you're pro-Trump, or it's being put out by the Kamala Harris administration, or at least the Biden administration, that doesn't mean that you just keep it as is. Okay, like for me, right before I retweet things, I gotta look at the person who I'm retweeting out, the tweets that I'm retweeting out. You know, and I hope whoever's gonna buy Twitter from Elon, they're gonna bring back the name Twitter, because to be honest, I fucking hate that name X. I hate it. I hate it. Okay, I hate it with too deep down in my core. I hate it. That's why I'm always gonna use Twitter.
Well, I think because I like the name X, you're probably not going to consider me for the tetherball tattoo, so I'll skip over that question for now. We might disagree on the naming of certain things, but I think we agree on a lot.
Yes.
There's society in general. They call people like us gamblers, where to us we just take calculated risks, which reward us for our research. The lotto, however, is straight pot luck. I think it's up to over 700 million now for Mega Millions. Do you play?
Oh, I do. I do. I do play. And how I play is really funny. I do have friends all over the world. Now, I don't know if this is legal or illegal, but hell, I'm just gonna share it anyway. So, and of course, the U.S. lottery, you know, is for U.S. citizen, right? So a lot of my friends all over the world, they would know about it. They say, "Oh, Jenny, you know, do you play the lottery? You know, here's $10, here's $100. Can you go buy some?" And of course, I would tell them, you know, you guys can't play, but if I ever win, okay, I'll send you each a couple $1 million, right? So once in a while, when I see the U.S. lottery gets big, like where is that now, 700 or $1 billion, I do try my luck, right? Luck is all about what the Lord gives you, you know. And so I would go out, and I think at one time, I think I made a lot of money. Let me see if I make money today. Give me a second. Let's see if I made money today.
Can't wait to see. While you look that up, I also play lotto. Found it already.
Okay. So, oh, you wanted to look? Well, I've been shorting Nvidia, and look where Nvidia is at. So I did say that Nvidia is gonna drop below $100, and it dropped to $100 today. So I didn't cover it yet. So you know, I think Kwanding knows that I mean I tweeted about it. It's on my Twitter. So I've been shorting. It's my first short in the history of my life, and I've been doing pretty good. So so one time I think I made some money. I forgot when it was, and I literally took $500 and I went out and I bought 500 either Powerball or something. It was $1 billion lottery at that time, but I didn't win. I mean, I think I won a couple $100 back, but I still lose. I put out 500. I think all of the tickets combined, I took back about $212. So I lost about $200 something, but I didn't win. So you know, it's all about luck. But yes, I do play, Randy. I might go out since you talk about it. I'm gonna go buy myself some after this.
Good. I remember, and I don't typically do this, but it puts you in a good light, so I feel like you'll be okay with it. On 14 July, I had mentioned, hey, when we spoke a few weeks back, did you mention you had NVIDIA in your fund? And you said, yep, I had unloaded leading up to the 10-to-1 stock split. Don't have any now, keeping an eye to pick it up again, thinking it might dip below 100. And it did. So I said, I think it'll dip below that as well. Good call unloading. Don't see much progress yet, despite the massive spending everyone's doing. Valuation is too inflated. What do you think that NVIDIA should be spending its money on? Because I feel like there's hundreds of billions of dollars spent every year by all these companies. And right now you have the AI chips that can kind of sound like Scarlett Johansson, and there's not much meat there. What do you think should be the next hurdle that these AI companies and NVIDIA that makes those chips, what do you think they should do next?
Well, I like Jensen Huang. Okay, I think he's a cool guy. I think overall he's an honest guy. But there were recent rumors that that NVIDIA was being investigated, and then the following day, Jensen Huang came out and said no, he did not receive any letters from the DOJ wanting to invest NVIDIA at all. So that was good news. But if there's no smoke, there's no fire. I still think there's something there. But I'm gonna tell you this, back to Elon Musk and Tesla.
Okay.
Forget about the DOJ going after NVIDIA. Look more towards the DOJ is gonna investigate Tesla. And that's the reason why Elon Musk wants Donald Trump to win so bad. Because Elon Musk's dark path, that's all I'm going to say. Come back to this. I'm going to get back on your show again. Time and time from now to the election of Randy, is come back to this show again. Okay? There are things about Tesla that you people don't know. Okay? On Wall Street, that's correct. That's, lots of us, America. There's Enron, there's WorldCom, there's cooking the books, there's a lot of stuff. So to me, I'm just speculating right now, people, that's all I'm going to say. Okay. There's a lot more dark, with Tesla and SpaceX and whatever Elon's doing that you guys don't know yet. And that's why Elon wanted Trump to win so bad, because with Trump, he can hopefully use the money that he has or more, okay, and hopefully brush all that under the carpet forever, okay? So
when you say brush under the carpet, like when he takes
brush under the carpet, it's kind of like it's an analogy, just like when you're at home, Randy, and you have like some dirt, and then your guest, it just rang the doorbell. Let's say your beautiful woman just rang the doorbell, and you cook her a steak dinner and everything is right, and all of a sudden you run to the door to open, and then you saw like some dust right there, and there's a piece of carpet. You take out the broom, you just sweep it and hide it temporarily under the rug. It's called sweeping under the rug, right? But there's still dust and dirty right there. You just hid under the rug. So that analogy that I was trying to say is that Elon has a lot of that, okay, that he wanted for Trump to win so that he can sweep a lot of those messiness, okay, under the rug so that he wouldn't get caught like CZ Binance got caught and had to go to prison. So
like funky
that's all I'm
accounting,
saying.
or like any type of ways that he inflates his own stock, or I'm
Everything.
I'm just
everything.
trying to understand
how he built Tesla, how he, like I would, there's this guy, I've tweeted this out, okay? He likes me and he bought a Tesla, okay, before he likes me, right? Or not, or he or before he knew I hate Tesla, okay? And so one day, he came to pick me up, and I walk out and I said, I never knew you own a Tesla. And I said, I've never told you. And his Tesla was expensive. His Tesla was $130,000. It's the one with the wings going up, Yeah. And he said, I never told you. I said, I don't think so. He said, why? I said, because I hate Tesla. He said, shit. I told him, I said, I hate Tesla. So I told him, I said, do you mind if I drive, because I hate Tesla. Okay. And you know, and I think he convinced me. So I did sit in that stupid Tesla. If he's listening right now, it's a stupid Tesla. So, you know, I don't sit on Tesla because I think Tesla, with Elon being behind it, all the data you got to use, everything you do in a Tesla is camera recorded. Okay. You know, is digital recorded. Like if I bought a Tesla and I would use the technology of the Tesla in there,
Yeah.
it will record. It's even worse than using Instagram or Facebook, and you lose your data. You guys seen those movies about that, right? So Tesla does the same thing. So I would never buy a Tesla. I would never. That's why I never buy a Twitter verified thingy. I don't want Elon to know anything about me than what he does. Okay, I don't want him to know my credit card numbers. I don't want him to know where I live. I don't know nothing of that. So the last thing I want is to have my name owning a Tesla for him to do that. But it's just my forecast right now. And you know, when I forecast, especially on a live show like this, you better bet your life on it. It's going to be 90 to 95% accurate.
Hydrogen. Interesting. They're saying that hydrogen might disrupt Elon's electric vehicles, saying that hydrogen is the future. I've heard this before. It hasn't happened yet, but it might. Right. I've been seeing a lot of smart people say it, so we'll see. That would be interesting if Elon spends so many billions on electric vehicles, and then it turns out hydrogen might be the key. We'll see.
Might be.
So if you go back to the lotto for a second, you mentioned you don't want Elon to know where you live. You'd never buy a Tesla. You never buy a X verified account. If you were to win the lotto, how would you spend that? Would you do it like 100% on investing? Would you spend a little bit on toys? Would you pump tetherball to the top 100 crypto? Would it be other riches? Let me know how Jenny Kuta would spend and invest that. After a lump sum, I think it'd be like $350 million.
That's it? Well, you might be right, but hopefully 350 million net.
Yes.
Okay, that means
that's net.
I will probably won the $1 billion jackpot. I gotta pay the federal taxes, the local tax. Let's just say pocket. I have anywhere between $300 to $400 million, right? So with that amount of money, which is a lot more than what I have now, obviously, I'm being truthful. Remember I said I have good friends who have been with me, you know, and you know, I would probably buy each of them a mansion wherever. Ooh. Okay, immediately. I said I will call them up. I say, hey, I just won the big jackpot. I'm gonna net $300 or $400 million. I want to buy you a mansion. Where do you want to be? So if you want it to be in Taiwan, in Hawaii, in wherever, I'll fly them over, go find that mansion. I'll pay cash. It's in your name. That's my gift to you. That's the first thing I'll do, is I will take care of the friends who's been taking care of me, right? You guys see how strong I am in public. I'm very energized. But in private, I'm very loyal to my friends. And to the very few who are very loyal to me, they're going to reap the rewards. Okay, so that's the first thing I'll do, right? I probably don't want anything because I have a mansion. I have the cars. I might buy another car or two because I love cars. Okay. But other than that, maybe a mansion. That mansion I'm probably not going to live in. That's probably going to be a mansion that I will I would have to hold parties. Okay. So I could keep my current mansion private. Right. And then the rest, I would say that I will go with my friends. Hopefully by that time we don't work anymore. At least my top few friends. We're just going to travel to different parts of the world to help the poor. Like I love to help. Like in Vietnam, I heard there are provinces that when babies are born, they have cleft lips,
Mhm.
cleft lips, and their eyes, because they live in, I would manipulate the stock market. Yeah, and you're gonna sit in a cell next to CZ Binance. That's what is gonna happen. You're gonna have CZ Binance as your roommate. So I would put out some money to help that, and definitely I will help the ladies of TBALL. Okay. We would do so many things for TBALL. Okay. That could be second to none behind Bitcoin. Who knows? I would definitely help the crypto market. Okay. If that were to be launching an exchange of some sort, I don't know. Okay. But those are the few things that if you're the city or state, federal, where call me Jenny Ta, you just won the $1 billion lottery minus taxes. We're gonna send you a check for or wire for 300 or 400 million. That's exactly what I was gonna do. Take care of my friends first. Obviously, I have my brother and my mom, but they don't need anything. I mean, they're probably my brother. I'll buy him a house or whatever. But house these days, $2 or $3 million of the 300 or 400 millions, that's just nothing. So my mom, I already built her a house. She's already living in the home that I built for her. So she doesn't need anything. So that's it. It's just my closest friends, and that's what I would do.
Oh,
And
nice.
probably fund more women-led projects.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
I'll if me and my friends win, I have two groups of friends that I'm playing with. One group is in New York, one group is here in Ohio. And I would, depending on, I think even if the lowest one, I think 3%. So out of that, say let's say it's like $10 million that I would net after everything. I'd probably go in and I'd buy a little bit of TBALL. I'd buy a bunch of my favorite cryptos. I would, and I know you'd probably never do this. I would at least make the offer though. I would love to share a couple drinks with you, and I would love to have that on stream, because I feel like Jenny after dark, Jenny, like when she has like a White Claw on her or something, I feel like we might get a different Jenny, but I feel like you would say no to that. So if I could get Jenny with in private, obviously in a public place, to do that, I would like to get to know that part of you, where you're a little bit more unfiltered, a little bit more of that. That would be fun. But you mentioned you are.
That might not be on live though. If you want the
No,
unfiltered,
we couldn't. I don't think you would
okay,
want like that live. Which is fine.
Okay.
So you've mentioned a couple times you were 300-ish years old. Question: I know I'm being facetious, but if you were alive in the 1800s, what would you have done? Would you have bid on the Civil War and backed the North because you knew they were going to win? Would you have bid on the Union Pacific Railroad because that was the one that happened to be the one that finished? What would you be doing in that era in the 1800s?
Wow. So back then, let me remember. I got to rewind my clock back. Way back when. I would probably say that in the 1800s, what we see today, I will probably bet towards railroads, because I believe that as a financier, which I am, an investment banker, one of the biggest banks in America happens to be Wells Fargo, right? Wells Fargo was built around the 1800s. And if you see their logo, you guys can Google it right now. If you see Wells Fargo logo, it's a logo of a horse and a carriage of some sort, right? So back then, that's how they move money. Today, I'm sure you guys probably seen those big tanks, you know, the white trucks, but they build it like a tank, right? So, yes, the railroad. So, you know, that's how they utilize those tanks, but it's more like a truck, okay? But it's built with metals and it's very safe, and that's how they carry money from bank to bank, like physical money from bank to bank, and that's why some of those trucks they get robbed because you know people keep track of similar trucks today, exactly what time they go to which bank, and then they would you know go to the driver and then they will put a gun, but then don't do that, people, because now those trucks are very sophisticated, because even if you were to come and rob one of those trucks, because sometimes those trucks only has one driver, the driver can simply push a button and you just cannot get to the back. So you can shoot that man or that driver. There's no way you're going to get to the back. Trust me, I know these things because I have friends in the banking industry that told me about this. A couple years back, you probably can't because the technology wasn't there. But nowadays, that's why you see those trucks or driving around and they move money. Everybody knows there's tons of money in that truck. But you don't see people rob it anymore because the technology is so high that even if you put a gun to the driver, he can simply, you know, it's on his hand, it's on his key. He could just push a button. You could kill him. You cannot drive the truck away, even if you have the keys. It's called a lockdown. Okay, so back to the 1800s and Wells Fargo, right? If I was living way back when, obviously I would probably chose more, you know, the path for the railroads, because I believe that without the railroads, we may not have the America that we have today, because America is so big, right? From California to New York, you got to move, you know, each state has its own agriculture, from food to natural resources and everything. So how do you move, you know, things around? Like it doesn't go fast enough with the horse and carriage. Okay. And so if I were to go way back when, Randy, I would choose, obviously, but I'm very modernized now. So if this is really like some kind of a test, I really got to dig down and read more about it and stuff. But preliminary overall, since you gave me two options, you know, I would be more towards the railroad, because that's what it makes sense to me, because I believe that with the railroad, it brings society and America to where it is now.
Great. I love how you give, with every answer, it gives sheds a little bit of light onto who you are as a person and what your character is. I want to go a little deeper. As I've gotten older, I've noticed that there are at least two different groups. One of them are people like ourselves who've come from humble beginnings, and you yourself made your wealth incrementally. And I feel like the other is, like we said before, the new money, the inherited wealth. And a lot of times those people are not as good or as fun to be around. Kwan Ning mentioned before that her parents want grandkids, but they still say dating is kind of a forbidden topic at home. But you mentioned that you might be godmother of one of her kids. She might have you raise them if, God forbid, something were to happen. So if I could ask the question, in that scenario, how would you raise those kids to be good and complete people while also knowing that they'll inherit a good amount of money in the future?
Wow, deep. That's just deep. Oh, Randy.
So
first and foremost, you know, growing up with my mom, I've learned two things, okay? That when you were born, your parents, a combination of your mom and dad, give you a certain trait. It's called a trait, right?
Yeah.
That you were born with, right? Certain traits. And then as you grow older, like for me, I believe how I am is a shadow of my mother, right? Like for example, when my mother had me, she was only like 30 something. My father, you know, was was a POW, so he was a prisoner of war. So my mother literally raised me and my brother by herself. So she was 30 something. To today's day and age, she was beautiful. I have a picture of her on my Instagram when she was in her 30s. She could easily marry another man. Easily. Yeah. Okay, easily. And I think that's where I got her strength, right? But she chose not to. Because she loved my brother and me, and she felt that if she married another man, she would need to spend more time of her to love that new man, right? And then when you give certain love to somebody else, you have to take that time and that love away from somebody else, which is me and my brother. Okay. Yeah. So this was my mother's way of thinking. And so that's why she never married again until my father later on, after I think 13 years, he was a prisoner of war. He came out and lo and behold, they got back together again because my mother never got married. Right. So she waited for him all that years. Okay. So, you know, so I commend my mother because that's just true loyalty. Okay. True loyalty. But back to the kids, right? So if I would have kids, and I still could, okay, I'm only 300 years old, but I still could, you know, and with all of my wealth, right? Obviously I will definitely reserve some for the kids, okay, because I work so hard, you know, I will give some away, but you know, they're my kids. Of course, I got to give it to the kids, right? You know, but I think for us, while our parents mold us and give us certain traits, but it's also dependent on us to build who we are as we grow older, right? So, you know, like I know some of my friends' parents, they're super conservative, they're very quiet. They, you know, they don't even want to kill a little ant that they see. So, you know, they would take like a piece of paper and have that little ant walk on the piece of paper, and then they take the ant outside and let it go. Those kind of parents.
Oh, I love that. Then,
yeah. But then their kids are not that great. Okay. They're kids. I mean, their kids can, you know, some of my friends that I know, they do go to prison for doing some bad things, right? So for us to say that, oh, if your parents are good, then that means you must be good. That's not necessarily true, okay? So I chose the path that I am who I am today, okay? So if I were to have kids, I don't want to mold my kids either, because you can only mold your kids to a certain aspect, maybe up to high school, probably at max, okay? No. And then after that, they're going to be who they are. I mean, they could be a murderer for all I know, okay? They could be a robber for all I know. So, you know, and so if, you know, so rich parents, okay? I have a lot of friends who are super wealthy, rich, and they have kids. And they asked me exactly the question. I know you don't have kids, Randy, so this is a great question.
I hope not.
Okay. Oh, I'll make sure now. So they would all come and ask me, Jenny, what should I do with my wealth? Because, you know, and I say, well, how's your kids? And I say, and then they would say, well, you know, this guy's good, this kid is good, but this kid, I'm not too sure. So then I would advise my friends, I said, then don't give it to them too much. You give it to them as you monitor them, okay? So there's an increment that you can give to your kids, that you can write in a trust, okay? That, you know, that you give, you know, when he's 30, you give this much. If he doesn't do anything, like in prison or whatever, as soon as he's in prison or get caught with drugs or whatever, then this entire trust, you know, it can be written that way. It's void and null void and null, and all the money in that trust for that kid will go to charity. A lot of my rich friends, they do that, right? Because the last thing that you want is to feed a bad kid, okay, to have all that money to even do something worse. Just like the incident with the shooting in America just this week.
Yeah, we had that like 2 days ago.
Yeah, his father bought him that gun for Christmas. Okay? And I think his father has been indicted and he's going to be in prison for 20 years. 20 years to life. I heard about that. So you see, it all comes down to the parents, rich or poor. It's your decision, okay, that triggers who you are and those that are surround you and that of your kids, okay? So no, if I would not feed my kid all that wealth if my kid turned out to be bad. Never. So if he or she, if the kid turns out bad, I said, good luck out there. Find your money. Your mother did. I did. I built my own wealth. Okay, you can do it. So if you choose that path, which is totally opposite from mine, you live your life. Good luck, son. Good luck, daughter. Just because I gave birth to you, okay, that doesn't mean that I can condone what you do. I love you, okay, but it's something that I cannot condone. So therefore, you're not going to take my wealth. I'm going to send my wealth to charity or the poor, whatever. That's what I would do.
I think you would have a lot of fun at New York Comic Con for multiple reasons. One, I feel like the people that go in and cosplay, they use that as an expression of self. It's a chance to be silly, but it's also a really good chance to network. At some of the parties.
When is it?
New York Comic Con will be next month. It'll be between October 17th through the 20th. If you want to come to one of the exclusive parties, you have an invite. You need certain things to be there. I have 2 of those certain things. I'll give you one for that night. One of the people that I think he was there. Yeah, he won't mind it. Would be Greg Schultz. He was President Biden's former campaign manager. You would definitely get along super well with him, along with a bunch of other people that go to this exclusive party as well. I think people would learn and get a different perspective on your thoughts. And I'm not asking you to speak at that thing. I don't know if there's even any actual speakers. Some people, they just like, hey, they do a speech or whatever. I think that'd be fun. Do you have anything going on that week? Do you know?
Next month, October?
Yeah, 17th of
October.
Yes.
Probably not. I might take you up on it. But
yes, let's do it.
Yeah, probably not. So I'll talk to you afterwards.
Cool. I
towards
mentioned
the end of October, I might have something, but it's still unconfirmed.
Okay.
But middle of October, not yet. Okay.
I mentioned before that my sorrow grew for people that didn't watch anime or read comics. Do you read comics? And if so, what are your favorite ones?
Well, yes, I do. When I was super little, I was really much into like the Wonder Woman types of comics.
Oh, I love her.
I grew up, I did play Mario Brothers. I was super good at Pac-Man. I was super good at even a couple years ago.
There's some naughty titles that people get into as well.
What was that game? But I played very little because I was, it was super hot that it was on. Was it on a gamepad or was it on your phone that you go around and you hunt?
Pokemon Go?
Yeah, Pokemon. So I did a little bit of that. That's why I think on Telegram, if you know me, I use the Pokemon and it's not my picture. I use the Pokemon, the yellow guy. What is his name? Forgot.
Pikachu.
Anyway, Pikachu. I love Pikachu. Yeah. So yeah, long and short, I do. Of course, my favorite character has to be Wonder Woman. Obviously, I grew up. I'm always gonna be a backer of women. Because I know how rough things are out there for women. Of course, I'm a woman. I love Spider-Man, Batman. I mean, yeah, Pikachu. Okay, and Pikachu, Wonder Woman. But I think that's it. Because and then after that, again, in my late teens to early 20s until now, I've been always busy in the business world. I find finance fascinating. I find money fascinating. I find people fascinating. So I'm more into those now than, I have not played, games ever since then. But I have friends who do, so, but again, we each have a hobby. So I think it's all cool. And I do collect comics. It's somewhere in my garage. I have to find it. I have those really old comic books, like the Wonder Woman, those books, you know what I'm talking about, right? I do. Yeah. My girl is related. I love Linda Carter, but no, I'm more into the modern one, the tall one. What's her name? The current Wonder Woman. Gal, that's correct.
Yeah.
But I love Linda Carter. She was the OG Wonder Woman. But I love Gal. Gal Gadot is also a great person in and out, and I love her values. I get along with her values. And also Linda Carter, I also love her values too as well. So
I love them as well. So we're we have 300 people here, almost 2.5 hours. We'll wrap this up shortly, and then obviously I want to talk to you off camera about a couple of things as well. But just to kind of finish it off, the last few questions, what is your favorite social media that you use, and what's the best post or video that you've seen on that social media in the last couple weeks?
Wow. So obviously this is going to be an interesting question, is that I do like Twitter minus Elon Musk. Okay, so that's what I'm hoping is after the election, the Trump, the MAGAs, and the Elon, Russia, Twitter situation goes away. If you guys were curious what I'm drinking, it's actually berries. My mom made it for me, so I only drink fruits that has the word berries in it. So I think she came and she bought some blueberries, and so she grind it for me. And and so I just spilled it, and I'll clean it up later. Twitter. I do like Twitter. But minus the Elon Musk. So I don't like X. I don't like Elon. So I hope after the election he will sell it to somebody else. He's just gonna become hopefully a quiet, non-jackass kind of a jerk. I used to like Elon. Did you guys know that? I
saw
to like
on your
Elon
Twitter
during,
or not your Twitter, your Instagram, you had posted about him a couple times years back.
I did. Yeah. When I was in the Dogecoin era, I like that Elon Musk. That Elon Musk is not the Elon Musk of today. Okay. And that goes with us dating, right? I mean, you could be dating a guy for 4 or 5 years, Dogecoin. Yeah, I was in Dogecoin, okay, and he changed on you. Or you could date a woman, and then 4 or 5 years later, she changes on you. So that's fine. So if they change on you, and if they no longer fit your values, then you change. That you change. That doesn't mean you have to change to fit them. That's called stupidity. Okay, you just need to keep who you are. Okay. And if everybody around you change, you let them go, but you still keep who you are. Okay. You don't change because of people. That's what people are so mistaken. Okay. So if people change around you, you start Xing them out. X. I X so many people out, of my life.
Yeah.
So Twitter, I think the second platform that I like is Instagram. And then I think I would stop there, because
Okay.
anything beyond that, it's just dumb because you don't have time for it. I barely have time for Instagram. Okay. So, because, a person like me, if they see me on everywhere TikTok, you
Yeah.
should be worrying if I'm managing your money. Okay.
Yeah.
You should be worried. Okay. So those are my two best platforms. Nothing else. No TikTok, no link. I barely am on LinkedIn or Facebook. I haven't used it for like 10 years. So yeah, just those two.
I love TikTok. It's so a lot of times, give a graphic visual here. Sometimes when I'm in bed, but sometimes like a lot of like, oh, what can I do for like 1 or 2 minutes here that won't waste time? And it's just, well, I'm on the toilet. It's like, oh, TikTok. Let's see what goes on there. And the videos are so funny. It's how I learn a lot of new vernacular, new vocabulary, because kids continue to make up words all the time. And then you can get on certain types of TikTok. You can be on like scary TikTok, which I'm on. You could be on like football TikTok or Taylor Swift talk. I think those two have actually merged now. The NFL talk and Taylor Swift talk, because she's dating one of the guys on the Kansas City Chiefs. But there's something for everyone. I do love that. I guess you mentioned Doge, so we'll kind of end here. You were in a article from Benzinga years back as one of the only humans that they recommend
One
that
of
people
four.
follow if you're in. Yeah, it was you, Elon Musk, Mark Cuban, and someone else.
Billy Marcus. He's the founder of Doge.
Yeah, and obviously he's kind of gone. But obviously you, Mark Cuban, and Elon are you still in Doge? Did you use some of those funds to launch Tetherball? Yeah, tell us
I
why
did.
you exited Doge.
I did. I did make quite a bit of money with Doge. Hi, is that our Michelle?
I don't know.
Or is that a different
Maybe.
Michelle? It looks like our Michelle because our Michelle only has one L.
Okay, maybe then, yeah.
Yeah. So that could be our Michelle. So yeah.
Oh, it is.
What was that? I didn't read that.
Oh,
yes, hi Michelle.
It says, what's
Yeah, that's
your...
our Michelle. What's your X account? Jenny Qtaw 7.
Yeah, I'll bring it up
Jenny
so that you can follow.
Qtaw. Yeah, right there. Jenny Qtaw 7. Okay.
Cool.
So yeah, so I saw at the top. I was very proud. At that time, it's anybody's game. Elon was on SNL. So I saw the bulk of it at the top. And I won't share what I've done with the money. Probably a bulk of that went into my wealth fund today. So I think I managed my wealth well. And I look back. I mean, I never look back because after Elon got onto SNL, and then he changed after that. I think when did Elon acquire Twitter? I think he started acquiring Twitter at the end of 2022.
Yeah,
okay?
like a year and a half.
So that was the last 2 years. Yeah. So that was when he started changing, and I didn't like it. So I got myself out of Dogecoin. I'm not as active as I was. And then Billy Marcus, he's the creator. I have his phone number. Okay. Oh. We used to text each other. And then he started being very pro Elon Musk, very, very pro. And we will follow each other at the time. And then I was very against Elon Musk then. And then so I start blocking him, and then he blocks me, right? Mm-hmm. So a lot of things change. And like I said, you got to keep your values. And if people around you change and you change your values to adapt with theirs, okay? Like all the Dogecoiners who follow Elon, okay, then that means you're no longer yourself. You've giving up your values to kiss someone else's ass. I'm gonna bluntly say that, okay? And I will never do that, okay? I will always gonna maintain my values, okay? And if people around me change, I'm just gonna let them go, okay? Like I block Elon. It's on my my Instagram. That just in case Billy Marcus said, "Oh no, I blocked Jenny Todd." That's a fucking lie. I blocked him first, okay? I couldn't stand all of his tweets that he was kissing Elon's ass as if he never kissed ass before. You know, I can't stand that with people. You know, I respect Billy for who he was. I love Dogecoin, but when people start not, you know, being themselves and being a follower, like, you know, following an asshole like Elon, no, X gone, X, okay. And so I start Xing out people. I X out a lot of people who change around me, and so that I can be sane, okay? I could be sane, okay? To be who I am and to keep who I am. And you and there's a saying, you know, Randy, the choices that you make today builds your character and who you are tomorrow, okay? And I've been building who I am today like 20 years ago. So yeah. I'm not going to change today for who I'm not 20 years from now. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's why if people around me change, I'm sorry, but you got to go. Okay. Because if that's who you are, then I, Jenny Ta, made a mistake. Okay. So you're not aligned with my values. So therefore, you go ahead and do whatever you do. I always say, you know, do you, okay, do you, and go happy with it, because I'm gonna do me, because I live my life and I'm gonna be happy with who I am, and yeah. It's the Jenny Ta that you know.
Appreciate your response. Well, and
I can't hear you.
Oh, can you hear me now?
I can't hear you anymore. Okay.
Is that better? Or no? Maybe your headphones died?
Okay, I can hear you now. So I think
okay, cool.
Okay, I think this one is dead. But anyway,
yeah, I feel like sometimes when we go for a long time, we're at like 2.5 hours, people's headphones, they tend to go kaput.
Okay, I'm good now.
That might be a sign that we should probably end it here. It's been about 2.5 hours. Obviously, I could go forever, but let's definitely talk off camera for a little bit. I feel like there's much to discuss there as well. Thank you so much, Jenny, for coming. This has been a amazing, informative, I think, deep dive into who we are as people. Everyone say bye-bye to Dashi. Bye-bye, Dashi. We love you.
Bye, Dashi.
We are gonna